125, 100 hours on the 27th of the 2nd, 2020. All right, so I'm going to talk about a particular incident concerning the idea of, I guess, what I think honor is and how to kind of be honorable and follow that kind of code. Yeah, I'm supposed to make a podcast with one of my comrades where we talk about things, and one of the things we're going to talk about is this very issue because he is very much involved in this because we had the previous discussion and yeah, we thought, oh yeah, we should definitely make a podcast about this. We just haven't organized the time to make it yet, but whatever. I'm going to touch on it through this little um, vlog video thing, whatever you call these things, because I'm trying to start making videos. Anyway, all right. A bit of background. So me and my comrades, growing up, while we were like all teenagers and stuff, we spent a lot of time together, and we made a particular group of friends, very loving and loyal to each other. And I don't know how everyone else felt, but I felt that being part of a nice friendship group, we all needed to wear a sense of honor about us and like look after each other and speak highly of each other and look after each other's honor and dignity, and so the rest of the world sees us in the highlight, because if one of us is being seen highly, then the other one will be seen highly, and then we'll all be seen highly collectively. So I don't know, I don't know, through all the influences I had growing up, media influences, I'm guessing, honor seemed to be one of those things. So we all kind of grew up with that kind of sense, growing up as teenagers. And now that we're all fully grown adults, I'm not sure if that sense and that way of living still exists in most of their heart or most other people's heart as well, not only us. Like, I think I've noticed that. I said this to my friend that I was having the discussion with. I said, I think he asked me what I think about honor because I brought up that I was doing something because it was honorable, and he goes, "Oh, what do you think about honor?" And I go, "Well, one thing I know is it's out of fashion. I like to think it's out of fashion because it seems that way. Maybe I'm wrong, but it really seems that way. Or maybe I've noticed that it is. Maybe that's because all the influences that used to influence me when I was younger, especially in terms of media like cartoons, stories, and movies, they involved a lot of things that involved honor, at least the vague, a big idea of what honor is. Because I can't fully define what it is, but I have a sense of what I believe it is, or what I have a particular philosophy that I have taken out of the big broad idea of honor. Yeah, so a lot of things that people are exposed to nowadays, I feel they don't really hold much of what that really is. And I think it's not being thrown into good light as much as it used to. I think it's seen as weakness now, to be honest. I don't believe that's true. I believe it's still the all powerful thing, and it can drive us as a peoples to goodness. We just need to be better examples to each other and show what power it can bring if you choose to believe it. Anyway, yeah, I'm just saying I grew up with cartoons where and movies where it was a big thing. Um, Dragon Ball Z? Maybe that's not. Oh yeah, I guess that's kind of honorable thing. I don't know. Just all the cartoons I used to watch when I was young. All the films, like there was always like a something to aspire to when you're being like the the honorable guy who takes the hard road. Because that's one detail that we must all definitely understand about being honorable. It's the more difficult road. especially at the start or when it's not prevalent in your surroundings. If being honorable is prevalent in your surroundings, in your environment, and your people, it becomes a lot easier because when everyone's working towards it, it it comes naturally. And that's how I figured out it's not in fashion lately. Because whenever I try to somewhat implement it, I feel that I'm met with a lot of resistance. Now, there's many, many reasons why it's not as fashionable in my surrounding environments nowadays. I understand. I get it. One of the reasons is because the influences aren't there as much. I like to think I'm an influence, but the problem is I'm not around as much, around my peoples. Also, the influences through media that we're all connected to is not exactly there. Another reason is because people are busy with other things where they don't get to really notice or practice the honor, or practicing honor doesn't bring them the benefits that they might be looking for. Like, for example, being um, busy with your corporate life or your work life, because being honorable at work is a good thing and there are benefits, but at the same time, um, there are consequences and losses to being honorable as well. That's more of a philosophical discussion of what it is to be honorable as well. So it's not that black and white. It's definitely not black and white. There's a huge spectrum, and it's just, you can't just define it black and white like that. But knowing that, I understand why it's not exactly the fashion anymore. Anyway, let's get to what I really wanted to talk about. So, a couple weeks ago, my comrades and I had the honor to celebrate the consummation of the relationship of a dear brother and a dear sister. For those of you who don't understand, um, we all got to celebrate a friend's wedding, and so the wedding, the typical Western wedding, because we live here in the Star Country. The typical Western traditions of Western style weddings, because we all grew up here as well. So even though look, we look Asian, I guess we have Asian blood, but we're Western. We grew up here. We were born here. Um, the traditions is usually a ceremony, usually a religious ceremony, where there will be also the legal signing of the established marriage. When people get married, there needs to be legal documentation, and that also couples with the religious ceremony. So there was that, and then there was the party afterwards, which is like in a lot of people's eyes seen as the more important event. When you go to the party, it's cool because that's when everyone has a good time. Um, to be honest, the party is important, but to me, what was most important was the ceremony, because um that's the more important event, because that party afterwards means nothing unless this ceremony happens first. Because that's the truth of it. You when you party, you celebrate something, and if, like, I guess you don't have to be there to celebrate the idea of the consummation, but either way, as one of the comrades, I definitely felt it was my duty to attend the ceremony and honor my brother and his wedding to our sister. So that was the deal. I'm going to a wedding ceremony. Now, what made it something worth talking about is because me and all the guys, like, we all grew up together. We don't spend as much time with each other as we used to because we're all busy, and we some of us discovered that several of us who were not going to attend the wedding ceremony, but they were definitely going to come to the wedding party afterwards. Which, yeah, fair enough. They're turning up to something. But in my heart, I thought, oh, damn, that sucks that they're not coming to the ceremony because the ceremony is the most important. I reckon. People probably think, not saying that my comrades thought this, but people probably think that it's more important that you're there at the party because that's where everyone will remember you and they'll definitely know you're there versus being there at the ceremony. But it's to me that's it's another way. Like it's more important that you're there at the ceremony. It doesn't matter shit if you come to the party or not. You don't. The party is not important. I find the ceremony is more important because like when you're there to be there and honor and give face to the people, it that's more of an important event. That's the real event. That you should be there for. You should be the witness for the actual consummation happening. You should feel proud that you were there to be a witness. You give that relationship strength. So if ever this relationship is on the verge of breaking apart, you're one of the witnesses that they may not want to disappoint and they might find an alternative and a solution to rebuild and reconsolidate their relationship. I don't think it works like that. It probably should. Maybe when people have marriages and they're breaking up, they should think about all the people that came to the marriage ceremony and think like, oh, you know what? All these people honored us and celebrated that what we're doing right now. Maybe we can work together and we can find a solution to how to make this work. In terms of like philosophical thinking, people always change over time. So I understand how relationships eventually break up. But people always change over time, and that's the thing. People always change over time. So part of making a commitment to another person is to understand that you're changing and they're changing, and you're making a commitment to, how do I say this, adjust yourself so that both your changes still work together. Of course, things get deeper, and you know, people they don't they don't want to deal with it anymore and all that, and like there's alternatives, there's different solutions, of course. But whatever, that's not the thing we're talking about. Let's go back to the wedding. So I heard that uh yeah, some of our comrades, they were coming to the party but not to the ceremony. I was a bit like, I wasn't fully disappointed because I still had to hear why some individuals were going to make it and some were not. And I know in their heart everyone kind of wanted to go to the ceremony. Like there's always like in your heart, like you or in your mind there's something that you know that you should go to the ceremony. But I think life gets in the way. You're busy and tired from regular life, that sometimes waking up early to make the effort to go to a ceremony is a little bit hard. I understood that, and everyone's fair enough. It's fair enough. Everyone can feel that way. Um, some of the people that weren't going to attend the ceremony, they had valid excuses. Like they were actually busy with the life duties that they have signed themselves to. Like you can't just like leave work out of nowhere. You've already assigned yourself to a duty, so you kind of need to fulfill that because that is honorable, of course. Um, but some of our comrades, they were on the fence about going, and um, I one of my comrades, let's just call him Fei Hong. Fei Hong, he is one of the most honorable individuals I know. I know in his heart. But to hear that he considered not coming to one of our comrades' ceremonies was a little bit disappointing. Um, I understood that life gets in the way, and he was a bit hesitant because he was tired from life. Like, life makes you tired, especially when you sign yourself, when you sign a lot of your life and a lot of your time away to other things. It's very exhausting. He's one of the busiest guys I know. He he runs his own little communities, his own little community, and he like teaches young ones, and like he's very busy. I don't blame him. And yes, he is one of the most honorable people. So I was a bit disappointed to hear that he was a bit tired to go to the ceremony. But at the same time, I had lots of hope because, like I said, I remember he's one of the most honorable individuals I know, and I just know he just needed a little nudge, just to remind him, hey, you should probably go to the ceremony. It takes a bit of effort, but just you should go. And I know I didn't have to explain anything to him about like why he should go. I explained is like, oh, I'm going because I told him I'm going because it's my duty to honor our brother on his special day. Um, yeah, and I could have explained to him that being doing the honorable thing does take effort because that's what part of being honorable is. It's taking the hard road. I could have explained that to him, but I knew with him I didn't have to because I knew he understood. I just had to say him, I'm doing what I'm doing because it's the honorable thing to do. And when I talked to him about that, all I had to say was that stuff. I think I gave him the little nudge he needed, and he actually went along, which is awesome. He came along, and yeah, how we got to the idea of giving him that talk is, first of all, we found out that he might be passing because he's tired. But second of all, I was having a discussion with my friend who I said I should be starting the podcast with. Um, I need to talk to him so we can get this podcast started. We didn't even know what we are going to talk about, but me and him, we know we love to discuss matters. We don't talk and chit chat, we discuss. And, it's going to be free knowledge for anyone out there, whether we're right or wrong. It's something. It's all based on life experiences. And yeah, that's the beauty of podcasts, when people talk, or that's the beauty of conversations that people have forgotten. Conversations is how we teach each other, how we as humans develop. When we have a discussion and a conversation, it's not I guess sometimes it's about competing, but the true nature of it is so all parties leave better informed about something, or with at least a bit more experience in something. Yeah, so me and my comrade, I call him Lazy Jesus. Yeah, we had done some exercise together that day, and then calming down from exercising, we're just having a bit of a chat about things. The ceremony was coming up that weekend, I think, and he had been in communication with Fei Hung, and he found out that Fei Hung might not be going. Um, and then when he told me that, I was like, "What? What? He's not coming? The hell?" And then he explained why he wasn't going. I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I said, "Oh, I'm going because like I'm actually going because I feel it's my duty to go. As one of the comrades that we all grew up with each other. I feel like it's my duty to go, and yeah, honor the ceremony." And then I think when I said something along those lines, that's when Lazy Jesus asked me, "What do you mean honor?" and all that stuff. And then that's when I said, it's out of fashion, all of that. And then we had a bit of a discussion what it is. And then I think and I talked about how it is like it does take a bit of effort. And I think he was reminded, and then I think it appealed to him, those this sort of thinking, or this sort of philosophy. It's not easy to completely implement honor fully into your life, because in doing so, you really got to change your character. But like anything, slow, small implementations of anything is the effective way. Oh, maybe not the effective, but the surefire way that for something to eventually solidify into your life or into your habits or whatever. I think I'll discuss the actual my actual understandings and full elaborate explanations about what honor is to me and how I use honor. But I just wanted to explain this little example. So the matter was, we had a friend's wedding coming up. One of the friends was considering not going, and I just had to remind him, like, hey man, we're all honorable here, and through love and through honor, because honor and love are hand in hand. Through love and honor, um, I think it's a good idea that we all show our faces for the ceremony because that's what's most important. The party's not important. It doesn't matter who went to the party. What matters is who made the effort when they could to go to the ceremony. People who don't feel they're in a close enough position to go to a ceremony because they're not that close to the family, fair enough. Because at the same time, there are people that they don't feel they're close enough, but they think it's probably a decent thing to do to show your face to a ceremony anyway. So salute to those people. Um, it all depends on like your life, if you're busy or not, if you're tired or not. I guess when you're in that position that I was just explaining, if you're tired, I think your reasons are more valid. But I don't know. There's always a chance to be honorable. There's always a chance in everything in life. There's a chance. There's a opportunity to be honorable. Being honorable might not give you the best results that you want for that situation. You might not enjoy or desire the outcomes for sure, but that's more of a thing you have to reflect within yourself, what you really want, what you truly want to accept. Like for example, if I saw $100 just sitting on the ground flying there, it would definitely be honorable to grab that $100, bring it into the police station or something, and report it. Or it would be honorable to get that $100 and donate it to someone who's apparently in need. And it might not be honorable to take that $100 and spend it on my vices or things that I feel like spending it on. In that situation, I don't really want to be honorable. There's a way I could be selfish and honorable. Like, for example, I could save that $100 and then use it to promote one of my enterprises that are created to help others out there. That is selfish and honorable. But maybe I just want to, go to go to Safeway and buy some Nutella, like buy like $100 worth of Nutella and just eat it all to myself. Who knows? So yeah, it's not easy being honorable, and like there's a fine line of like whether you really want to implement it completely into your life and not. And there's also so many different degrees of doing the honorable thing as well. I don't even think honorable is the right word on what I'm talking about, to be honest. I just like to use the word honorable because it sounds romantic. It is very romantic. Remember what I said, like how honor and love go hand in hand? It's a very romantic thing. So yeah, so I guess the whole thing I might have been talking about was just how to be romantic, and I remember my friend Fei Hong was one of the most romantic men out there, and I had to remind him of how romantic he could be. That's one way to look at it, but we'll use the word honor. It sounds more honorable. um, yeah. So, damn it, there was something else I wanted to explain. Well, in that situation, yeah, there were people that um if there were others who were in the position where they could have, should have, um, did the more honorable thing and come to the ceremony, that would have been awesome, but fair enough. Um, Sadly, I wasn't there to remind them of such little details. Also, like I said, life doesn't really promote it as much as it used to. It's not the fashion. So you can't get angry at them. I'm definitely not angry. I'm not angry at anyone for not being honorable. It's not the fashion. That's like getting angry at people for not wearing flares. Flares aren't the fashion. So why would I get angry at people for not wearing flares? It's trends in society is like a convenience that we kind of have to accept. We can change them and be revolutionary. We can be revolutionary and try to make changes, but of course that meets a lot of resistance. That's another discussion as well. But yeah, one thing I was really happy to see is like a lot of the brothers that I expected or I hoped to see. I don't want to say expected. A lot of the brothers I hoped to see were there and they showed their face. Some of them they only came for about 1 or 2 minutes, but all I that doesn't even matter. They're only there for like 1 or 2 minutes. I saw their face. They came. They showed their face to everyone. They sat down for a bit. I don't know where they disappeared after because I was too busy watching the ceremony. They were gone, but it doesn't matter. Like when I remember, like I'm talking about a particular brother. He knows who he is. Everyone knows who he is. Like, when I saw him, I was like, "Hell's yeah, that's my brother." Like he came to show honor. He didn't have to stay for everything. And yeah, like it's just I don't know. I salute him for that. I thought that was cool. Oh, not no, it's not cool that he left, but I mean, like, I'm just happy to see that a lot of us turned up. A lot of us showed our face. I think there were a few that weren't reminded of the event, so fair enough. It doesn't matter. It does. It actually doesn't matter who was there, who was not, because, like I said, um, this way of life isn't trendy anyway, or it's just people have kind of forgotten it. I just wanted to explain a cool little situation that I think people might find interesting, and if they don't, then whatever. Haters gonna hate. But let's see if yeah we can maybe make this world a little bit more romantic. I know I do a lot of dishonorable things, but at least I'm trying to be more honorable in more ways or in ways that I can when I have the chance to reflect over myself and give myself the opportunity to possibly implement it. But yeah, um, I should definitely get that podcast happening with Lazy J, and we can have some more proper discussions. I think me having this talk in front of the camera would be better when I'm having a discussion with another person. It'd be easier to listen to, I reckon. But yeah, that's all I've got so far. And so I'm signing out.